This is a PIX11 special, Behind the Badge, with New York City Police Commissioner Edward Caban.
Thank you for joining us for this PIX11 special, Behind the Badge. I'm Nicole Johnson. Tonight, we sit down with New York City Police Commissioner Edward Caban for a candid conversation you will only see here. In full disclosure, we gave the commissioner time to answer our questions. From leading the largest police department in the country to the agency's triumphs, tragedy, and trials, nothing is off the table. He's making history.
I would faithfully discharge the duties.
Faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the position of Police Commissioner.
Of the position of Police Commissioner.
As the first Hispanic top cop. On his watch. And almost a year later,
We lost Jonathan tonight.
Where are we now? Commissioner, thank you so much for taking time to sit with us. How are you doing, and where have you been?
I'm honored to be here with you. Thank you very much. I've been busy running around the streets of New York City.
Critics are saying they're not seeing you out there enough, that you're not on the front lines. What do you want New Yorkers to know?
You know, as police commissioner of the New York City Police Department, my job is simple: reduce crime in our city and keep people safe. And to do that, I built a great team, from my executives to my cops to everyone in between. And I give my executives the autonomy to speak directly to the people of New York City, directly about issues and concerns about public safety. And I think they're doing a great job. They're very dedicated, they're very passionate about what they do. And they're passionate about the work our officers do every single day in our city.
A job that can be deadly for police officers. March 25th, 2024, a dark day for the NYPD. A young officer, Jonathan Diller, made the ultimate sacrifice. An emotional goodbye, heartfelt tributes at his funeral, Diller's wife Stephanie delivering a powerful eulogy, reflecting on their lives together as best friends and how Diller loved being a father.
Jonathan always wanted to be a dad, and he wasted no time being the greatest one. I will never forget the look on his face when our son was born. I don't think we could ever achieve a greater happiness.
It was during a routine traffic stop in Queens. Diller and his partner suspected something was wrong. When they approached this car, police say career criminal Guy Rivera shot Diller. After being hit, Diller continuing to fight to get control of the suspect's gun.
I've been shot, I've been shot, I've been shot. And even with the acknowledgement that he was shot, he fought and took the gun out of the hand of the person.
Diller spent 3 years on the force, enough time to make a dramatic impact on public safety, clocking countless hours, walking the beat, making about 70 arrests. It's that dedication and hard work his brothers and sisters in blue will miss the most. But for community members, it was his acts of kindness.
He would always say hi. He was very friendly, you know. We just felt sad by everything that happened. He's so young, you know. I mourn with his family. It's just sad. It's just sad.
The community showing up by the dozens to support Diller's family. While the man accused and charged in Diller's murder moves through the justice system, more light is being shed on the flaws in the system. One Diller's wife believes failed her husband.
How many more police officers and how many more families need to make the ultimate sacrifice before we start protecting them?
You know, as far as crime in our city, it's challenging, to say the least. You know, we address violent criminals every single day. We're up in felony arrests for a 25-year high, and our officers go in harm's way every single day. And the murder of Detective First Grade Jonathan Diller is a stark reminder of that. In that incident, you had two people, career criminals, who had no issues about pulling a gun, an illegal gun, and murdering Officer Diller. Like I said, it affects our officers to the core when things like that happen. Yes, they will face murder charges, but in the interim, you have a family without a son. You have a father without a little boy. You have a wife without a husband. it's difficult for our officers.
And how do you keep morale going after such a tragedy, losing an officer this way?
You know, I'm out there every single day with our officers at different events, and not just me, my executive team and the leadership team of our city. The mayor's out there every single day letting our officers know how much they are appreciated, and so do I, and so do all of our executive team.
Right now, New York City is dealing with an unprecedented migrant crisis. Thousands flooding the city on a quest for a better life. But some are choosing to take a much different road, a dangerous one. We've seen incidents involving the migrant crisis. Times Square officers attacked by migrants. We were at a takedown in the Bronx, migrants operating drugs and guns and illegal cell phone business. What's the status now on migrant crime? It seemed to quiet down or bring us up to speed.
You know, our job is to enforce the law. So as far as the migrants are concerned, the majority of migrants coming here to New York City for a better life for themselves and their families. So we don't police people, we police crime. So it doesn't matter if you've been here for 30 days or 30 years. If you commit a crime in New York City, you'll be held accountable. As far as migrant crime is concerned, it's not as prevalent anymore. We're seeing very little numbers when it comes to migrant crimes. But when it comes to migrant crime, even migrants in general, it's not really a police issue. Yes, we will deal with issues that do involve public safety, but it's something that we're seeing spread out throughout the communities across our country. And that's a larger dialogue that needs to be set with everyone, and it's not only the police.
Talk about quality of life. Quality of life violations, something the NYPD is tackling with the CRT, going out there, cracking down on illegal dirt bikes, cracking down on fake plates to boost that quality of life for New Yorkers. Assess it for us. Is it working?
Oh, it's definitely working. You know, we look back at our administration, when the administration began in January 2022, when crime was up over 40% in our city. Since then, our officers have removed over 10,000 homeless encampments. Since then, our officers have taken over 51,000 illegal dirt bikes and ATVs off of our streets. Since then, our officers have removed over 16,000 illegal firearms. Our officers are out there working every single day to keep New Yorkers safe, and it's an undisputed fact that the city is safer because of the work that they're doing.
So you believe quality of life is better?
It's 100% better.
When we come back,
this is the New York City Police Department. You have been warned as per City College to leave the campus.
Critics are saying now that the officers went in with excessive force.
the police commissioner goes on record.
Did your officer pull down a Palestinian flag and put up an American flag?
And later, Mr. Caban unveils his comprehensive plan to address the spike in gun violence among teens during the summer months. You're watching a PIX11 special, Behind the Badge, with New York City Police Commissioner Edward Caban.
Permit the safe flow of pedestrian traffic.
An executive team called in to restore order during violent protests on the streets and on college campuses.
We support everyone's right to peacefully protest, but we will not accept assaults on our officers. We will not accept destruction of property, either public or private. We will not accept disruption of services. So since October 7th, the New York City Police Department has dealt with over 3,000 protests, both big and small, in our city. And when you talk about specific protests like Columbia University and City College, those are private institutions. And they requested the New York City Police Department to come on their campuses and address some of the issues that they were seeing. You know, in Columbia University, they took over one of the buildings. They barricaded themselves. They destroyed property. That's not a peaceful protest by any means. So we were called in, once again, by the university. And in the building that they took over, they damaged and destroyed some security cameras. So officers didn't know what they were getting into. So for the safety of everyone involved, our officers, the protesters, everywhere around the area, we had to call in our emergency service unit, our best of the best.
Okay. We've seen some of the video out there, and critics are saying now that the officers went in with excessive force. Clear up that misconception if you don't believe so.
Oh, absolutely not. There was no injuries to any officers. There was no injuries to any protesters. That night we had couple of hundred arrests, and there was no incidents at all. I'm proud of the work that our officers do and that they do every single day.
Did your officer pull down a Palestinian flag and put up an American flag?
So when it comes to the flag, that's city college property, private property. That Palestinian flag was put up there by the protesters, and the Palestinian flag was taken down by CUNY security. What our officers did do was put up the flag, the American flag, where it rightfully belonged. And I'm very proud of our American flag, and so are the men and women who fight for this country and fight for the things that we receive in this country, so I have no issues with what our officers did.
I also asked the police commissioner about a troubling trend, a spike in gun violence, especially among teenagers.
We want to start with some breaking news. Police say a 16-year-old has died after being shot in the head in Soho.
An 11-year-old boy who was shot in the arm in Brooklyn. And brought you this yesterday as breaking news. The child was inside of a building on Howard Avenue in Crown Heights, visiting relatives Monday night when it happened.
The search is on for the man who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy. The victim was killed just blocks from where he lived.
Yeah, right now, a motive is still unclear.
Now, Commissioner, you know during the summer months, traditionally, we see a spike in crime in the city among youth. Just in several neighborhoods. What are you doing? What are the strategies to just zero in, especially during the summer months?
We have a comprehensive plan in place, like we always do, and that involves deploying resources to the areas where our city needs them the most. You know, a lot of our crime is concentrated on certain precincts and neighborhoods, so we deployed the resources there just to enhance the good work that's already being done by our precincts, by our transit district, by our housing developments. We deploy these resources, and look at last year. We had a very, very good summer month. And a lot of that is done by focused, strategic policing, going back, looking at the historical data, finding out where pockets of violence is, looking at our 911 calls, our 311 calls. So last summer, we were down in crime in all of our deployment zones. We were down in shootings across all of our 5 boroughs. And we're looking to mimic that this summer as well. And we think that we have a great plan in place, and we're gonna utilize that plan.
Still ahead, the fatal shooting of a 19-year-old by the hands of police, now igniting calls to change how NYPD officers respond to mental health emergencies.
This is a very important issue because it affects everyone.
Plus, hundreds of officers deployed underground to protect subway riders and drive down crime. But is the plan working? The police commissioner's answer, next. You're watching a PIX11 special, Behind the Badge, with New York City Police Commissioner Edward Caban.
Let's talk about transit. We've seen so many twists and turns in the transit system. Recently, massive situation in the Bronx where we had a major incident, multiple people shot. We've also seen some progress there, where the city deployed more officers in there. You moved more police officers in the system. There's more technology, and we're seeing a turn in the right direction. But can you keep that going?
So transit has always been one of our focal points. It's been one of our focal points since this administration began. And our first year, we've seen declines in transit and crime. At the end of last year, we ended up with declines in transit. Then the beginning of this year, we've seen increases are up to 40%. Our ridership, it's an enormous ridership. We have 4 million riders a day. We have 20 million riders a week, and they deserve to be safe. Not only do they deserve to be safe, we make sure that they feel safe too. So we did what we did, and we deployed extra resources into our transit system. Not only deployed extra resources, we enhanced our overall arrests. Everything in transit went up. So at the last 3 months, we've seen declines by double digits. February, March, April, bringing an overall decrease in our transit system where we're currently at right now. And that's what our ridership deserves, and that's exactly what they're going to get from members of the men and women of the New York City Police Department.
Do you believe that that alone can change perception? Because we still talk to people to this day, and they just don't feel safe.
And everyone's perception is their reality. You know, if you're a victim of a crime, we're never going to change how you feel about that. You know, but myself and my executives ride the trains pretty often, and we did it a couple months ago, and I spoke to specific strap hangers in our subway systems, and 99.9% of them will never be a victim of a crime, but it's what they're seeing on our social media and our news that's helping to steer their perception.
Body cam footage of the shooting of a 19-year-old is still under investigation. And while Caban cannot speak directly about this case, he admits mental illness calls are some of the most challenging for his officers. Talk about training. We can't talk about training enough. You have officers out there responding to mental illness calls. They are trained in de-escalation, but zero in and describe this training.
You know, so New York City Police Department handles over 9 million calls a year, and over 160,000 of those calls alone deal with people who have some sort of mental or emotional distress. So our officers are out there, and that's one of the most difficult calls that we receive every year. So officers do have crisis intervention training that they deal with, and we're looking to enhance that training. We're looking to make sure that they get it every single year and they keep on going. In the academy, our officers are taught by people who have certified clinicians in this area, and they teach them this de-escalation training. They teach them ways to deal with people in crisis. This is a very important issue because it affects everyone in all walks of life. But it's also not just strictly an NYPD issue. Yes, we're a stakeholder, but there are many stakeholders involved in this, both public and private. They need to step up and do their part. And we're working with all of our partners to make sure that this is done in order to make sure every New Yorker is safe.
So what I'm hearing from you, Commissioner, do you believe you need help to have those mental health intervention professionals go out with the officers, maybe do more to help here?
Absolutely. Like I said, we work with our clinicians, we work with our homeless outreach units, we work with different public and private sector organizations that help us in this outreach.
When we return,
and what can we expect moving forward?
The police commissioner lays out his future plans for the agency. You're watching a PIX11 special, Behind the Badge, with New York City Police Commissioner Edward Caban.
We spent a little time getting to know Caban. He says he's just like any average New Yorker, a family man honored to not only follow his father's footsteps, but break barriers while doing the job he loves. What are you most proud of at this point?
I'm proud of all the work our officers do every single day in our city. And more that work is being done by the people who look like our city, who reflect our city. We have officers that hail from over 100 different countries that speak in accents of over 70 different languages. They're the fabric of our city. And we're also seeing officers who live in our city that work in our department. We have over 60% of all NYPD officers live in our city, and there's no better people to police our city than people who work and live here. That's what I'm proud of.
What's your signature? Every commissioner before you, they have like their signature. What's Police Commissioner Eddie Caban's signature?
You know, I think over my 33 years of service, going through different communities, different boroughs, different neighborhoods, what I've learned is that people are looking for, they're not looking for a brilliant mind that speaks. They're looking for a compassionate heart that listens. And that's the department I want to run. To me, that's what leadership is about. And that's what I do every single day. I'm out there in every single neighborhood, talking to the residents, talking to the cops. That's what I want to be known for.
And what can we expect moving forward?
You know, we can expect that our officers are going to continue to be committed to driving down crime, driving down violence. That's our main focus, and we're going to continue to do that.
Thank you for joining us for this PIX11 special Behind the Badge. I'm Nicole Johnson. The PIX11 Evening News is next.